Hello and happy Tuesday. Welcome to Live with Gotham Quilts. It's Tuesday. I'm Allison. Last week we talked about Tula. Today I've got something related that I think you're going to enjoy. Okay, I'm getting the no flailing arms from producer Ken. We had a secret a secret hand signal here. If the sound wasn't working, he was going to flail his hands. He didn't, so we're good. So I'll keep talking. Today is going to be a really interesting show. It's going to be mostly me talking in front of this beautiful quilt here. And we picked this quilt for a reason. The reason is we are announcing the next round of our Color for Quilters class. Now, this class is fantastic. It starts with this book, let's see here, the Quilters Field Guide to Color. I focus mostly on the color part here. But it's a class that Gotham has offered a couple of rounds now, and we are going to continue in that tradition and offer it again. The class will start in January. It'll start the third Thursday. It's a little bit of a tongue twister, but it'll be the third Thursday each month for an entire year. So you get a year of hands-on color theory, color lessons, and practical applications for quilters. So you might say, who is this class for? Let's start with the who, and then I'll get to the what. The who is, this class is for anyone who relies on quilt or kids. If you say to yourself, I can't pick out the fabrics for a quilt, this is for you. If you get overwhelmed at the quilt store or when you're shopping online, this class is for you. If you say, I can't pick out a quilt, I only do kits. We love making kits for you because that is really the fun part for us, but this class is for you. This class is designed to give you the encouragement and the confidence that you need to pick out fabrics, colors, accessories, ephemera, which is one of my favorite new words here for whatever you might have going on. And that applies to quilts, table runners, table toppers, embroidery, cross stitch, any of those things where you say, I'm not confident in my picking abilities. So that's kind of who this class is for. That's who it's designed for. Now, I've seen in the comments, we've got a couple of people who might have taken it more than once. If you are one of those people, just know that this version is going to be a little bit different. In the past, Andrea has been leading those classes. In the future, it will be yours truly who's going to lead those classes on color. Now, I hope to do her proud. Just know that color is one of those things. It's very, for the most part, subjective. There are some rules that will help guide you to where you want to be. And that is what this book and also the class is designed. But other than that, it's really subjective. Some people like pink and orange together. Some people would never mix them in a million years. It really is, your quilt is your taste and what you like to see. So let's talk about a little bit about what the class is. The class is, we meet once a month. And like I say, we start with this book as our guide. So this is going to be our textbook. And this textbook is perfect because it's not just plain, boring color theory. You could get that from any art textbook. This one really does combine some color theory. It talks about hues and tones and values and all of those things that you need to know that underline all the decisions that we make in putting things together. Sometimes you know that two colors go together really well, and you might not necessarily know why. Color theory is the explanation of why those things go together, or if you're mixing 3 or 4 colors. These 4 colors look really good together. Color theory will tell you why. It's not meant to drive all your decisions, to say, I can't pick these colors because they're not tertiary. It's not about that. This can also, not understanding those color theories that's found in this book, can also help you guide where to go. If you've got some colors and you're not sure where to go, you can use color theory to help guide that direction. So we're starting with this textbook. And I started to say why this textbook is so amazing. And can you just make sure, it looks like we're freezing up a little bit on mine, or does it look like that for you? Okay, then I'll just go with it. Um, so I started to tell you why this book is so much better than just your average Bear color theory book. And that has to do with it. This is written by a quilter, by a fabric artist. And so it brings color theory and quilting or sewing together. And this combines those two things in a way that's very practical. Each chapter or each month will have a different challenge or homework assignment, a different way to test the things that we're learning. So we're going to start off very basic with, warm versus cool. I'm sure all of us are familiar with warm colors, so red, orange, yellow, and cool colors. Green, blue, purple, some of those kind of mix and match, but those are basically the buckets of the warm and the cool. This just builds on that. So each month we will meet together. We will talk about the challenge and talk about how we did. There's going to be an assignment. You'll work on the assignment. It will end up in a block or two, or maybe even three, depending on the week. But you'll have, depending on the month, you'll have plenty of time to do that. You'll have plenty of instruction to do that. The reason that I mention that block is that that's why this is such a great place to start, is that it combines the things that we're learning about color with actual applications to fabric. Rarely, very rarely, except in the case of solids, is a fabric that we enjoy using just one single solid color. And so it's not as simple as necessarily red is a warm color and blue is a cool color. So this will quickly move beyond just those basic understandings of color theory and move on to the things that we really want to know about, is how do I make a palette of fabrics? How do I make a grouping of fabrics look cohesive, look beautiful? And how do I make sure, which is really the true question, how do I make sure that all this time and money I am spending on this quilt, table runner, bag, whatever it may be, isn't wasted? So, I got a little bit distracted about that exciting point here, but that's ultimately what this class will look like. Is each month we will get together, we will talk about the assignments, we will look at the blocks, the quilt blocks that are made, and once we're all done with this, you will have enough blocks at the end of all of this to put them together into a project. So, depending on how many different blocks you decide to make for each of the challenges, you would have enough for a quilt of some size, probably a lap size, maybe even bigger, depending on if you're an overachiever. So it mixes together perfectly the color theory, the practical application of color, and then sewing something fabulous and beautiful. So we're going to bring all of that together in one big happy class. So this class lasts for the entire year. We'll start in January and we will graduate in December. We'll meet once a month, and that will again be the third Thursday of each month, and work on these hands-on experiences, these hands-on experiments, rather. Yeah, let's go ahead and show the QR. So if you are ready to sign up for the Color for Quilters class, do scan that QR code. Like I say, it's a great way to increase your confidence in color, in that. And the best part is you can shop your stash. It's a great way to shop your stash. Another reason, another hint that maybe you might want to consider signing up for this class is if that little bit, if we're going to shop your stash and that gives you some heartburn, because you might say, my stash is all blue or my stash is all green. You like what you like, and I very much respect that. But sometimes when we're very comfortable, we get stuck in a rut and we pick all of the same colors. Like you should see my stash. It's basically I have well, my stash is the store is really what it is kind of how it turned out. I couldn't contain it anymore, so we had to get a quilt store. But before I had to be a little bit more mindful of buying something other than just I like what I like. It was all very, like, it was either a rainbow or it was gray. and you like what you like. And sometimes it's not worth getting out of that rut. But that is kind of where this book especially and the class specifically will come in handy, is just to broaden your horizons a little bit, get you out of that comfort zone and get you comfortable and happy and enjoying picking out fabrics for quilts. Because some might say that that is the best part, is the shopping for the fabric. And so that is why we have this quilt behind me. This is the pattern Kenzie by a Minnesota designer, Purple Daisy Designs. We love her work. It's really fun. Also, one thing I do want to point out is this quilt behind me. It might read solid on your screen, but this is a fabulous basic by Riley Blake Designs. It's the 1/8 inch tonal stripe. And so when you get up close, you see that texture, but when you're far away, it's not so overpowering. Which actually brings me to another piece that will be discussed in this book as well and in the class. It'll come later, so it's about halfway through we'll call it the year, where we're talking about fabrics and tone, and size, scale, for example. It's like when you're looking at this book, and if you're looking at anything in your stash, very rarely do we have just fabrics that are one color or they read one color. More often we have things that are a mixture of colors. And so this book is uniquely designed, I would say better than any standard color theory book, to address those concerns. What do you do when you have multiple colors in a fabric? How do you know which one is the dominant one? How do you read those fabrics and identify? So that is that. The other piece that you get with this class is a community. When we get together and discuss this, like I say, the color is very subjective. Certainly we can all agree that this color over here is a green, right? But there are things that are certainly less obvious that come down to personal preference. There are certain colors that, when you're looking at it, is it a green? Is it a yellow? And so that's where the community comes in clutch for something like this, is that we're not all going to see the same thing the same way. And that is okay. That's probably, I would say, the best part about this Color for Quilters class. So you also, let's talk about what you get in the packet. So when you click on that QR code, or when you scan that QR code, it'll bring you to a collection on our website talking all about the Color for Quilters class. Now, at the very minimum, you will want to sign up for the class. You will get the option to get this book in your packet. If you've already registered, or if you've already got this book and you just need a little bit extra, you have the option to forego this book and get a fat quarter bundle. Get a fabric bundle, for example. Especially handy if you have a stash that looks very monochromatic. But if you haven't yet received this book, if you don't have it, you will definitely need it. It is part of the curriculum. The challenges and the techniques, everything that we're going to be talking about is going to be in this book. We're just going to go a little bit further in the Color for Quilters class. So that's the first thing that you'll see, is you'll register for the class. Again, that's 1 year long. You'll get access to the community space indefinitely, forever, as long as you care to have it. And then the book will be a resource for you. There are also other products in there. One of the things that I might recommend is, in the book, basically there'll be some assignments, some homework. And part of that assignment, that homework, is sewing up some blocks, using actual fabric to sew up some blocks. There is a very lovely pattern in the book, but if you wanted to get a little bit more creative with it, now it is just one pattern, so you'll have all these different colors with one pattern, which can be unifying. For example, you'll have all of these different colors going all over the place, but you'll have one block, one theme to tie them all together. If you wanted to go a slightly different route, now you will be sewing fabric together, and so any kind of pattern book would be very helpful. If you've got the quilt cards, that's awesome. You'll also see a listing for this particular book. This is 100 Modern Quilt Blocks by Tula Pink. And this is a fabulous resource. It'll just be at that same QR code. And what this does is it gives you some examples of some quilt blocks. And in her, I doubt that Tula drew these. Maybe she did. But in the drawings, it's very clear how these blocks go together. This book is a fabulous resource. Even if you aren't in the Color for Quilters, or even if you've already taken it, this book is faboo. It's absolutely fabulous. I love it for a lot of different things. And there are some sampler ideas in the back. Let me just get to those real quick here. There's this one's probably kind of hard to see, but we've got the trellis version there, and it gives you some ideas. Oh, here's a much better way to view it. The trellis version, so you've got the sashing in between that, and then we've got the skyline. Let's see if we can find a better version of that. We've got the skyline version. So this is 100 different blocks, a great resource guide, and we love Tula's modern sensibility. This is also great for fabric to fussy cut. There's some patterns in here that work really great with the fussy cutting. There are also a couple of links to, in that Color for Quilters main collection, there's also a couple of different options for some color cards. Now, there's a couple of different versions. The one that I'm holding here that's in the plastic is not the exact version, but it's by the same company. It's pretty similar. And so these are a great, very portable way to help identify some of those color theory things that we'll go about in the class. And you can see here that each page is kind of like a paint swatch book, if you ever got one of those back in the day. Each one of these items will give you some colors in different hues. And with this, with the instructions in the book, you can treat this just like you would a color wheel and find all of those color theories things. Like you can find analogous colors, you can find complementary, so they're right across the color wheel on each other. So these are great resources to help you identify or let's call hone in on a particular color or shade if you're trying to find something that goes along with it. This one is kind of nice because it's got these holes. And so what you can do is lay this over a piece of fabric and try to find either a color that looks really good with it or that same color. So you can say, okay, well, this is the pure blue, this is the hue number 3. I'm going to use that to find what I'm looking for. Another version, the one that we've got linked on the website, a different version, is very similar to this in that it's got these colors. On the back of that, it's got some information that's very helpful. And it also has a red and a green plastic piece on it. That one, unfortunately, I forgot at my desk here, so I don't have it here. But the red and the green plastic thing on the other color card that looks very similar to this is very handy for one very simple thing. The red and the green you can lay over fabric and get a sense of depth. If you have ever taken some fabric, laid it out, taken a picture with your phone and turned that picture into black and white and saw how different, how varied did these fabrics look in black and white, that's what these red and the green things work. Now the green works for every color except for green, and the red works for green. So that's why you have the two colors in there. But it's very handy because then you just hold it over your fabric or whatever you're looking at, your proposed block, for example, and you don't need to take a picture, turn it to black and white, and it's just very simple, quick, and easy to do. Ken, as I'm talking so very much, do we have any questions in? Nope.
Really any questions, just some comments.
Just some comments here.
Somebody.
Use the Tula book for the class. Oh, love it. Yes. So that is a really good point that Sandra makes. Now, I'm I'm going to show you guys a little secret. And I want you to know it was a project I was working on where it was completely random. I had some fabrics, rolled a dice, and then put these fabrics together. So these are not representative of things that I would necessarily put together as they are, but they are examples from the Tula book. So you can see as it stands, these are the kinds of sizes that we're talking about. So you can see these colors are pretty wild. These were completely by chance and by random, these particular fabrics. So we are looking at, I want to say it was 6 or 6.5 inches square. Actually, I could measure right now and give you an exact number. 6.5 is what we're looking at. And so Sandra mentioned that she blew them up. Yes, that makes sense because these are pretty teeny tiny blocks. So feel free to do that with that. But the instructions on, I love the book because of the ideas of some of these blocks. But yeah, they are just really a lot of times very simple. And again, please keep in mind, completely random. This one actually worked together quite nicely, but they were very random fabric choices. So I just had these handy, so thought I would show you guys these particular blocks. So yeah. Okay, you might ask, what do I need to register for this class? The intention is that we keep this very simple and that you have everything you need with your class registration. So the first thing is you're going to need this book, so it'll be included in your registration. If you already have it, there's an option for fabric that you could choose instead. And then the next thing is your stash. You can use the fabric that you have in your house if you've got some fat quarter bundles or if you want a prize or something, any of those fabrics that you have laying around. Now, as you can see, if you use the Tula version, none of these blocks are super big, so that's not a ton of fabric that we're talking about. If you use the version in the book, they're about the same size. There's just generally fewer pieces. It's a bear path. Yeah. And so you're not using a whole ton of fabric. But anything in your stash is great to use for this. The last thing is an open mind and a little bit of time on a Thursday night. That's what you need. That's what you need for this. Now, there are certain things that can make your journey easier. There are certain things that after you get into it, you might think, gosh, when I'm out and about, I really want one of these to help me. There's also another version that you'll see on the website, which is just cards. That's a little bit nicer. Nicer. It's a little bit different in that you get a box of the cards. You get a much bigger piece of the fabric. So it's a lot easier to see what the color is. And then you'll have some information on the back of that card to say, here's a complementary color to the color that you have in your hand. And you can use those to mix and match and sort around. So those are a little bit more freewheeling than something like this, where these are attached. So if I wanted to, for example, compare this darkest green to this kind of corally red, you can see it's not super easy for me to get those two colors right next to each other. But with the deck of cards, it's a lot easier because I have those cards loose and I can use them. But I wouldn't say any of those things necessarily are things that you need to start out with. If you know it's something you might like, it's kind of handy because then you can save on shipping. You don't have to have it sent out to you later. We would just ship all of your materials together. But really, it's as simple as the book, your stash, and a free Thursday night. There you go. You got what you need. Let's see here. The other thing I will point out is that in the Color for Quilters class, your year, your particular class is recorded. The videos are recorded. The homework assignments will be part of the permanent record of that class, and they'll be available to you as long as you care to have access. They're housed in our Gotham community site, which is a great place. If you haven't poked around there, please do. Gotham community access is free, but then for any of the extra things that we're talking about, Stitch Lab or Color for Quilters, any of the virtual retreats, those are all locked down to people who have registered for that. But do join our Gotham community site. It's a great place to get inspiration and meet people who like it. And yeah, the last thing I was checking my notes here. The last thing I wanted to mention is that we do plan, depending on how many registrants we get, we do plan to offer this twice per year, going back to the normal Gotham schedule. The first one is going to open up in January, so we'll do registrations now. They'll close in a few weeks. I would say the beginning of November, maybe mid-November. And then all of the items that were ordered as part of your class, the book, the Fat Quarter bundles, if you wanted to get the Tula book to go along with it, all of those things will be shipped out in December, beginning of December, for you to have and hit the ground running starting in January. So if you can't make the January window, if that is not a good time for you, or maybe you got this class as a gift, for example, for Christmas, we will have another registration starting in April for the classes starting in July. So we'll basically repeat the same class, just with a different group of people starting in July. So, Producer Ken, why don't you put that QR code back up just one more time? So if you are interested in the Color for Quilters class, it's a great way to, like I say, build your confidence around picking everything you need to make projects that are as fabulous as you. Do consider signing up for that. Registration will close mid-November so that we can get all those items shipped out to you in time, plenty of time for the first session. Again, they are going to be the third Thursday of every month. So yeah, let's see here. I have my notes that I'm referring back to. I love this. Build your color voice. I was trying to work that into the conversation, but really that's what this is about, so that you can build your color voice. You don't have to be a slave to the color rules. This is about building your confidence and building your voice so that you can make your projects shine and make sure that they are beautiful to you. So with that, Producer Ken, did we have any questions, any comments in there? I see lots of comments.
Yep.
Nice. The color class looks like fun. Yeah, it is a lot of fun. So we can't wait to have you join us with that. So now let's move along to the we're talking about housekeeping items. The first thing that I wanted to get to is because we talked a lot about Tula today. Tula is the queen of color, and I think more than I guess I don't want to say more than other fabric designers, but certainly on par with fabric designers, Tula is a quilter. And I feel like it really shows. I think it especially shows in her most recent announcement for her line Floral Reef. And so we've heard some feedback that maybe you weren't able to easily find our the replay of the show that we did last week, where we talked all about Tula. So we've got that linked here. If you missed out on that show, go ahead and click the or scan the QR code. We'll also have this updated. I'm just going to double check it in the email that goes out. The link for the replay is going to be right there. That can be found on YouTube or Facebook. I think it's just harder to find on Facebook. So if you're on YouTube, look for Gotham Quilts. It'll be one of the most recent videos that we did, and that is the thumbnail right there. I learned video or fabric or photo editing, so that's why that one looks like that this time. Yeah, having a blast with that photo editing. But in any event, go ahead, scan that QR code, go ahead and watch the Tula replay. We are still offering, we've got some spots left. We are still offering the limited time discount on we're doing the first total of 50 pre-orders. And we blew through a couple of those, but we've got some spaces left. The Tula Pink Floral Reef, I think, is a fabulous, gorgeous, beautiful line. The colors, talk about colors, the colors are fantastic, and it brings a perfect combination of ocean life and ocean life with beautiful colors and floral, which I think it's great that it's called Floral Reef. Not everybody lives near the ocean. We aren't anywhere near the ocean, but I love this collection because it doesn't scream like fish, tropical beach. It really does. When you squint, you're like, oh, is that a sea animal? Is that a thing? Um, but really, it just is pretty colors, pretty designs. It's a lovely collection. If you know you want to, if you don't need to watch the replay, go ahead and click this QR code or scan that QR code, and that will bring you directly to our website where the Tula Floral Reef Collection lives. So as long as you see that discounted price, if you'll see a price and then it's crossed through and then there's a lower price, you know that there are still some spots available on our pre-order discount pile. So do act fast on that. But yeah, really excited about the floral reef. And then last, talking about Tula, we'll talk about gray work. Gray work is coming out this month. I'm hearing rumors that it's going to be in the next 2 weeks or so. We're hearing soon. It was expected in October, and I don't have any reason to think that it won't be by maybe like the end of October. But that one is coming out. Great. A great combination to all the color that you may have. Gray work, I think, is going to be lovely. It's got the same feel as line work, if you remember that one from a couple of years ago, but this one is just leaning heavier into the gray. It's got the geometric, the lines, the palms, the dots. I think this is a lovely collection too, and it looks beautiful with the True Colors 2025. So that was Tula's most recent collection that is in stores now, the Line Work 2025. It came out with Full Moon Forest 2025. So that was, gosh, maybe a couple months ago. It looks beautiful with those kind of pastel-y colors in True Colors. So match made in heaven between the True Colors 2025 and the Gray Work. So can't wait for that to come out. But that one is also on pre-order. And so, like I said, when we get that, it will be shipped out as well. The other thing I want to talk, this is just a day of color. Wanted to put another shout out for Stitch Lab. Stitch Lab bringing to you today because our next challenge is taupe. Not very sexy, I know. People never say taupe is my favorite color, but this is, I think, a fabulous color challenge in Stitch Lab. Now, if you're not familiar with Stitch Lab, it is basically a community. It's hosted on our Gotham community site. It's a community where we get together, we do different challenges, we learn about different things, we support each other and encourage each other and say, hey, did you think about that? Did you know about this? It's a great community. And it's just a ton of fun. That is also on to Thursdays, but that is the second Tuesday of each month. So just know you can do both. You can't, they won't overlap between Stitch Lab and the Color for Quilters. But Stitch Lab is a great monthly experience where we get together and talk all things stitchy. It doesn't have to be quilting. It can be crocheting, knitting, embroidery, sashikos, quilting, garment making, whatever your stitching is, please do consider joining us at Stitch Lab. And one of the things that we are trying out, we'll see how well this is received, is sending out a little nifty gifty with each month that coordinates with that one. So this one, we're going to start you on your taupe journey and give you a piece of taupe colored fabric for you to build a palette around. And if you want to do something with that palette, you can absolutely do that. Really, the challenge is just to build a palette around taupe. So dig in your stash, use that taupe fabric that we're sending out to you to build something beautiful and fabulous. And like I said, if you've got the gumption to sew it together, even better, or stitch it together, even better. But really just to work those color muscles and build something around taupe. Yeah, not the flashiest color, but I think it's got a place. I think we're going to have some good palettes. What do you think, Ken? Yes, he loves it. You love taupe or you love the idea? He loves both. Sounds fabulous. Oh, and taupe is out of your comfort zone. Yep. I totally believe that not many people say, gosh, I love taupe. I sew with taupe all the day, all the time. And then what else do we got here? I'm looking at that. Oh, our newest Thread Talk, our November Thread Talk is live. So do consider registering for that. Keep in mind, Club Gotham members get in for free. Thread Talks with Sarah Felke. I added an extra I in there. Sarah Felke, who is a fabulous, fun, modern designer. She is going to talk all about her design process, what goes into the ideas of building this. She is, I would say, probably the most famous in my opinion with block of the month. She does some really great block of the months. She's got a Big Woods, I think it's called the Big Woods, with Tula Pink. They have collaborated and worked together on that, which is a fabulous piece of art. But yeah, just really fun, modern, lovely designs. And so we get a little peek into her brain where she's going to talk about her design process. So this is going to be a fabulous, wonderful, amazing Thread Talk. Be sure to register for that one. And I said it at the beginning, but I will say it again. Club Gotham members do get free entry to all of the Thread Talks, and those are once a month thing too. So if you're doing the math, if you're like, well, there's been a couple of those Thread Talks that I found really very interesting. It doesn't take many of those Thread Talks to cover the cost of your Club Gotham membership. So do keep that in mind. So that Thread Talks, if you're going through, they're not all up on our website yet. We're still working on our 2026 offerings here. But they are going to be the first Wednesdays of the month. Occasionally, there's a holiday that's going to throw a wrench in things. But for the most part, they're going to be the first Wednesday of each month at 8 p.m., 8 to 9 Eastern time. And that is all we've got. That is all we've got for today. Thank you so much. Do consider signing up for the Color for Quilters class. It is going to be a blast. I can't wait to have you there. And the Tula is the other thing that has a time on it. You want to be one of those first 50 people to sign up and get that discounted rate, because who doesn't love a discount on Tula, right? It doesn't happen often. So thank you all for joining us. We will see you next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel. That's going to be Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern with Live with Gotham Quilts. Can't wait to see you. And until then, have a good night, and we'll see you next time.